Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I hope everyone is well. It's an exciting day because I have my mentor, my longtime friend. Geez, has it been over 25
Don't
years?
say it.
You know, it amazes me and it makes me so happy, especially with what's going on right now, that I get to have Dr. Adriana James right by my side. And I wanted to thank her for her time because she stopped by here right in the middle of teaching master practitioner. Can you believe that? So many of you know her, many of you have been trained by her. Dr. Adriana James is a master trainer of NLP, timeline therapy, hypnosis, and coaching. Welcome, Adriana.
Thank you, Candy, for having me. This is great.
I,
And with
I
the occasion of doing the conference, this is exciting.
I wish you would have came at a better time than this summer heat because I would have made you an espresso coffee and we could have sat in the courtyard and had a chat, but it's hot out there.
It's a little hot for a coffee outside. Yes, I
It's a
agree.
little hot. So we're excited to have you speaking at our conference. Adriana Jane will be doing the closing keynote speaker in September. So Adriana, if I can, just so that everyone can get to know you, may I ask you a few questions?
Absolutely, please.
Great. Adriana, you have spent decades at the forefront of NLP, timeline therapy, hypnosis, and human transformation. Looking back, what do you believe has been the biggest evolution in the way we understand change?
The biggest evolution in the way we understand change. First of all, change happens all around us. Change happens all the time. So if I may kind of turn around a little bit that question and say, what helps us the most to be flexible and adapt
Mhm.
to the change that's happening? I mean, unless you're living under a rock, you observe that the world around us is changing constantly. And what drives very much this change nowadays is the change in technology, the technological advances that we're dealing with. The latest one being, the inception and then the development of AI,
Yes.
right? That drives the change. The best thing to how to think about it, how I think about it always, and I just had a beautiful conversation with the people enrolled in the master practitioner training that we're doing right now, is what makes us flexible, adaptable, so that we can ride that wave that's the change. Because if we look back at the good old times and how it used to be, we're not going back. There is no back. That there's only forward progress, development, and so that's how I approach that.
Right. After so many years in this field, what still fascinates you about the human mind and our ability to transform?
What fascinates me is the human mind. You just said it. It's the human mind itself because it's a human mind has an unbelievable capacity to grow. And so the question I'm always having is how come that sometimes we feel blocked, stopped. We feel like we put barriers ahead of ourselves. Um, and the most empowering thing, I think, for me that I found based also on the feedback as I receive from students, from graduates, from coaching clients, is every single time after they're successful and they break through those barriers, in fact, that they thought, I can't do this, I can't do that, I'm not good enough, I'm not capable, I can't figure it out, this and that and the other. And they do, and I go, I didn't realize how much power I had. I didn't realize how much power I had myself. And that's probably the most rewarding thing because, see, here is the thing that independent of me, of another coach, of anything else, it's like they really get the power back in their own hands to change and transform their lives. And this is happening all over the world with people from different continents, different backgrounds, different cultures, because I meet them all the time in our trainings. And it seems to be a constant. Yeah, I guess that's what I'm trying to say. It seems to be a constant. Yeah.
Where do you believe hypnosis and NLP are heading over the next decade?
I think there still remain very important skills.
Mhm.
See, we already noticed after the first wave of excitement, everybody was going to AI to ask all sorts of questions. And I'm not knocking AI down. AI is an extremely useful tool, but it's limited in terms of, as human beings, we need human interaction. I'm next to you. I can touch you, I can interact with you. And we know from hypnosis, from NLP, from time therapy, that there is more to communication than just words.
Okay.
There is something else that's part of the 93% non-verbal communication that makes us have the need. We human beings, we're social creatures. And here is a paradox, and actually it's a little bit sad, but there is a new epidemic in the world that nobody talks about. You know what that is?
Right.
We're more connected than ever, and yet the epidemic is that of loneliness. People feel more lonely than before because no matter how many followers and likes and this and that you have, unless you have this social interaction physically, leads people to loneliness. That's a paradox because you would say it's the other way around,
Right.
isn't it? And yes, this is something that I noticed, and I think that there is kind of a reversal. People are still reaching out for human to human interaction. So I don't think that NLP and hypnosis are going anywhere. Anyway, not anywhere soon, for sure.
Right, for sure.
Yeah.
Why is understanding values and identity such a powerful part of creating transformation and lasting change?
Well, as you know, I wrote the book Values and the Evolution of Consciousness, and for years and years and years, since I learned first in my master practitioner, that's been a while ago. Anyway, since I learned values, it's a fascinating subject because values determine our motivation. Everything that we want to do,
Mhm.
that we're motivated to do or not to do, is based on our values. That is very clear. So pretty much everything that's part of our behavior is based on our values. So values change over time. Society's values change over time. And that's okay as long as we are aware, conscious, first of all, that we know and recognize our own values, what ticks us, what makes us tick, what makes us motivated or demotivated, and things like this. And so you're asking about values and identity. I heard you say the word identity there. So identity, well, I can't say that values define who you are because that would be incorrect. But surely your values define your motivation and can lead to disagreements between people. How come? Very simple. Uh, I hear all the time untrained people or politicians or anybody like this who says, well, the right values or this person doesn't have values. We know that everybody has values, only that we have different values from each other.
Right.
So the person who says this person doesn't have values or they don't have values, what they mean is they don't have the same values as we do or as I do, which is correct. Now, that doesn't mean that it has to be disagreement because once we understand, and that's why I love values so much, is in the elicitation of values and the discovery of most deeply unconscious values and then how to work with them to change them if necessary, is that because we don't have to argue with each other just by understanding each other, understanding and respecting each other's values. Actually, it's far more inclusionary, it's far more beneficial as groups of people, as a society in general. Plus, it's personally important in our personal values because if somebody in your family, a member of your family, has different values from you, your significant other, your spouse, or your parents, or your brothers, sisters have different values from you, then it will seem like you are clashing, but you're not. just understanding and discovering that we have different values, and that's okay. We can agree, then we can negotiate, and we agree on common values, which will make us motivated in the same direction. And all of a sudden, the disagreements and everything is gone. So they are extremely useful as tool, understanding of how to elicit values, how to discover your values, how to figure out what's the most important one to the least important one, and all this kind of stuff, which you know very well is part of the master practitioner. This leads us to concrete possibilities for results, for change, and for greater understanding, communication, and better relationships.
Yeah, I remember we were talking the other day about values, and I've done my master practitioner training over 20 years ago, so I think it's time I revisit. So is values being still taught? I believe you said it's a full day that you're teaching.
No. It's actually more. It's 2 days of the approach to values from the different ways of thinking that exist on the planet, because different people have different ways of thinking and thus different values, but also the process by which we discover our values, because values are on the surface, yes, they are conscious. What are our values? A business, a corporation, anything. Those here are our values, okay, and they have them written in a piece of paper.
Mm-hmm.
But that's at the conscious level.
Right.
But most of our values, as paradoxically as it sounds, operate at the unconscious level.
Mm-hmm.
Operate at the unconscious level. So there is a method by which we discover them. Then we put them in the right order. What's the most important to the least important? And then we learn that what if we want to change something, or if we want to add something, that's also part of what I did. So that's about 4 days of
Wow.
of training. Yeah,
I need to come back.
it's still happening. Why don't you?
Oh, you're in the middle of master practitioner right
I
now.
I am. So you should be there. But anyway, plenty of time.
All right. So many people in our audience are not only practitioners, but trainers and educators. What advice would you give someone wanting to become a transformational trainer?
A transformation, first of all, to get trained themselves,
Okay.
to learn skills. See, there is no replacement for knowledge. And I mean true knowledge with practical application. So I'm fond of calling, what I teach in all these 4 different modalities that I teach: NLP and timeline therapy and hypnosis and the NLP coaching section. I'm fond of calling this actionable intelligence. It's not my words. It's not, I don't claim, ownership of these words, but it's something that you take and you immediately practically apply it in your life. It's not just theoretical information. It's not just, what am I trying to say? Interesting intellectual exercise. Because there's a lot of stuff, a lot of interesting stuff. But how do you take that and apply it to make the change you want to make in your life?
Right.
To change the things that don't work, or to improve the things that even work but make them even better, for better results, for better success, for better prosperity, health, relationships, you name it.
I've been to quite a bit of training. What would you say how, I guess, your trainer's training differentiates with other ways of training others? Because sometimes I feel there's a connection with me and the speaker, and sometimes I don't. What do you think, by attending your trainer's training, that I can become that dynamic trainer where I get a connection with my audience and I'm delivering my message and I'm keeping their interests?
Give me the name of a speaker that's very charismatic that you can think of immediately. Can you think of somebody?
Dr. Chad James.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was extremely charismatic.
No, I'm serious. He kept my interest. He wanted me to know what's next. And then I've been to others, and I'm like, so what's for dinner?
So if I can put it very briefly, because I don't want to overload you and our viewers with unnecessary details. I think the difference is being interested versus being interesting.
Mm.
So see, if a trainer wants to be interesting, there is a lot of interesting people out there. We can see them in social media, we can see them everywhere, and they're very interesting people. But from the trainer perspective, if you really want to be a good trainer, you be sincerely interested in the progress of the people you are training. And yes, there are 30 different skills which are installed automatically. And so the process, the design of the training makes each and every one of those individuals in the audience, in the participants group, become a good trainer. So to me, and I learned this from Ted, because this was his philosophy as well. As you know, I taught with him for over 2 decades, is this issue of, am I sincerely interested in making you the best trainer and presenter you can be, or am I just going to show off how good I am? Because if I am trying to be interesting, you'll applaud me, you'll think, oh, great, whatever. You'll leave the training and nothing will change for you. And my little ego will feel great, and I go, yeah, see, I got applause. But from as I see it from a good trainer perspective, that's not so relevant. You can still get all the applause and the acknowledgement if you train good people. So if your students go out and become great trainers themselves, and they have an impact, they assist others, they teach others very valuable skills, again, that their students change something and improve something and make their lives happier, and adjust to the change that we're just talking about, and adjust to the change in a way that make their lives successful and even better and more satisfying, more fulfilling, then I would say that that trainer did a good job.
Awesome.
That's how I'm looking at it.
So, what responsibility do trainers and coaches have in shaping the future of this profession and maintaining excellence in this field? What's responsibilities of these trainers, coaches now?
Inspiring people to trust in human spirit and not ever give up in the greatness of human beings.
Awesome. Thank you for that. If you could give every hypnotherapist, coach, and trainer attending the ABH Conference 2026 one idea that would elevate the way they work, what would that be?
Keep learning.
Keep learning.
Keep learning. Do not ever give up improving and learning. It's the old metaphor that I learned again from Ted. I don't claim ownership over it, but it's still very useful. Imagine your brain having a trapdoor like this, and a trapdoor could be closed. The trapdoor closes whenever you think you know something. Whenever you think you know something, you get completion on a subject, that makes further development, further growth, further learning impossible.
And I remember a trainer's training you as well as Tad. There's always more.
There is always more.
Yeah.
Yeah, but think of it. Even in the ancient tradition of Hawaii, it says, there are just two things that you are here for. Doesn't matter how much you accumulate. Doesn't matter how much you possess, how much everything. Eventually, when you're going to be asked two questions. Do you remember them? Did you learn enough? And did you love enough? So these are the two. See, the old traditions, the old ancient knowledge all tell us the same thing in different ways. Do not ever stop learning. Do not ever stop the search for improving yourself, becoming better, because every human being is capable of so much more. So it's very sad when you see people just stop. That's not good. So keep that trap door open all the time with curiosity, because you're capable of a lot more. That's what I would say.
Cool. Adriana, after a lifetime dedicated to human transformation, what do you believe is truly possible when we understand the mind the unconscious, and the potential within every human being.
What I believe is truly possible, the door's wide open. The door's wide open, provided that we're willing to step through that door. What is possible? Anything's possible. You see, there is serious talk about, let's go really big picture for a moment. All right? With the human mind, who designed the AI? Human mind. Who is contemplating the idea of us humans becoming a multiplanetary civilization? Human mind. Who's coming? Human mind. So what's possible? Anything's possible. I truly believe that it's possible for us to create an incredibly beautiful planet in which we all live peacefully together. It's very possible to clean up the environment. It's very possible. All of those things are possible. We can do it if we give up this little petty fights all the time and little things which we don't know. See, if I had the magic wand, this is magic wand, okay? This is my magic wand. And if I had the magic wand, I will teach all the kids timeline therapy, for instance. Because what difference does it make for a young person to grow up believing in themselves, believing that they can, believing that they not only hoping, but truly believing in themselves in such a way that they live in the life of possibility? Then this answers your question: what's not possible? Well, anything you can know how to do and set your mind to, it becomes a possibility, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah, but it's a different way of thinking. It's a very different way of thinking, possibility versus necessity, or possibility versus scarcity. And there is a lot of turmoil in the world. We're experiencing all, no matter where you are in the world, this is what's happening right now. But this is just a period of transition. Any change presupposes a period of turmoil. The question is, what do you hold in your mind at the other end? And we're coming back to the basics of our trainings. What are you focusing on, right?
Right.
And there we go.
So can you give us a little information? What are you going to be speaking on at the conference? What our audience, what can they expect? Just a little.
I just want to share with them a process that's, again, very practical, that they can use immediately, based on timeline therapy. But we're not going to do timeline therapy, but it's based on timeline therapy and is geared toward the future.
Awesome.
How to utilize this in the future, so that, but something very practical they can do immediately, yeah, so that they can get the results they want and the success they want.
So Adriana, thank you very much for your time. It was a great hour spending with you today, and thank you for taking that time out of your busy schedule. I know you're in the middle of teaching master practitioner. I can't wait to hear what you have to say at the conference in September. Enjoy the rest of your stay here, and everyone, we're ready. Are you ready?
I'm looking forward to it. Thank you, Candy.